What if the end of the next great war has already been written? Not by generals in war rooms or politicians at a negotiating table, but by an artificial intelligence. For weeks, the world has held its breath, watching the conflict between Israel and Iran escalate, terrified it could trigger a global catastrophe. But behind the scenes, a new kind of AI has been running thousands of simulations, modeling the decisions of world leaders and calculating the most likely outcomes. We've gained access to this geopolitical AI's conclusions. The data paints a shocking picture of how this war ends, and its predictions on the military, humanitarian, and political fallout could change everything. This isn't just speculation. It's a forecast from a machine that sees the world in ways we can't. And its final analysis is a stark warning for all of us. The Code Red scenario. The showdown between Israel and Iran is a crisis analysts have feared for decades. In late June 2025, those fears became reality. A series of Israeli strikes targeting Iran's nuclear facilities and military leadership was met with furious barrages of Iranian missiles, shattering the region's fragile peace. As the death toll climbed on both sides, the world was left with one terrifying question: what happens next? To answer that, we turn to our source, an advanced AI platform known as North Star. Developed by a team that includes a former Harvard professor and backed by big names in tech, North Star isn't just another algorithm. It builds digital twins of world leaders, complex models that simulate their personalities, decision-making, and even their reactions to things like sleep deprivation. This AI runs thousands of geopolitical scenarios at once, learning from each one to predict how a crisis will play out. It was even used to predict, with 60% accuracy, Russia's potential for escalation in Ukraine. Now it's been turned loose on the Israel-Iran conflict. The AI has analyzed the leaders, armies, economies, and the tangled web of global alliances. Its findings are broken down into 3 core predictions, each more unsettling than the last. Prediction 1. The Kinetic War. The first major takeaway from the AI's analysis is about the physical battlefield. If you're hoping for a swift, clean victory for either side, the AI's forecast is bleak. It concludes that a quick, clean end to the war is the least likely outcome. Instead, the data points to 2 overwhelming possibilities: a brutal, prolonged war of attrition, or a wider regional war that pulls in global powers. The AI models show that while Israel's first strikes might have damaged parts of Iran's nuclear and missile programs, it wasn't a knockout blow. The Iranian regime, though squeezed, is predicted to prioritize its own survival above all else, which makes a full surrender almost unthinkable. The AI also rates the odds of a successful, externally forced regime change as extremely low, given how deep the current government's roots are and the massive human cost it would require. This leads to a grim stalemate. The AI calculates a high probability of devastating but sporadic flare-ups, more missile exchanges, surgical strikes, and a shadow war fought by proxy forces across the Middle East. It gives a greater than 60% chance that one miscalculation or the direct intervention of a country like the United States could ignite a much larger conflict. The AI doesn't see a winner here. It sees a feedback loop of violence, where every attack justifies a counterattack, dragging both nations deeper into a conflict that drains their resources, their people, and their standing in the world. The war on the ground, the AI says, is unwinnable in the traditional sense. It will only end through exhaustion or a catastrophic escalation. Prediction 2. The human cost. The AI's second prediction moves from military strategy to the staggering human and economic price. This is where the abstract numbers of geopolitics slam into a devastating reality. According to UN reports and human rights groups, the conflict has already led to hundreds of civilian deaths in both Iran and Israel, with thousands more injured. But the AI predicts this is just the start. If the conflict stays on its current path, the models forecast a humanitarian crisis on an immense scale. In Iran, continued airstrikes on infrastructure are expected to cause mass displacement, with millions fleeing major cities. These strikes could cripple the nation's energy grid, causing shortages of fuel, clean water, and food. Overwhelmed medical facilities would face total collapse. The UN has already warned that the population is being traumatized, with civilians taking the hardest hit in a war that threatens their homes, safety, and lives. The economic fallout, the AI warns, will be global. Any disruption in the Strait of Hormuz, a critical artery for the world's oil, would trigger an immediate energy crisis and send shockwaves through international markets. Financial models in the simulation predict that a long-term conflict would cause safe haven assets like gold to spike, while stock markets would plummet. The human cost isn't just in casualties, it's in shattered economies and disrupted lives across the planet. The AI is clear. No one is immune. This is the future the AI is forecasting. And while these models are running simulations on the physical war, the AI has spotted a second, invisible battlefield that's already active. If you want to understand how technology is fundamentally reshaping our world, make sure you subscribe and hit that notification bell. You won't want to miss our next investigation. The game changer, the ghost in the machine. This brings us to the AI's third and most critical prediction, what it calls the true game changer. It's not a new weapon or a secret treaty. It's the war for reality itself. The AI concludes that the most dangerous, unpredictable factor in this conflict is the widespread use of AI-generated misinformation from both sides. While armies fight with missiles and drones, a second, hidden war is being fought on social media, in private messages, and all over the internet. We're not just talking about propaganda anymore. We're talking about deepfakes, hyper-realistic fabricated videos, and AI-generated lies designed to manipulate public opinion with terrifying speed. The research is flooded with examples. AI-generated videos claiming to show apocalyptic damage in Tel Aviv have gone viral, only to be debunked later. Fake images of downed fighter jets and false reports of military leaders surrendering are being used to create an illusion of victory or collapse. These aren't crude fakes. They are sophisticated productions, sometimes linked to powerful new AI generators and designed to be indistinguishable from reality. Here's why the AI sees this as the game changer. This information war actively blocks any chance of de-escalation. Diplomacy needs a shared set of facts to work, but AI-driven misinformation is built to destroy that foundation. How can leaders negotiate a ceasefire when deepfake videos of them appearing to reject peace can be created and spread to millions in minutes? How can the public trust official reports when AI bots can create a false consensus online, making it seem like the entire country is demanding more war? Experts warn that even after a fake is exposed, the damage is done. The first emotional narrative often sticks, destroying trust in governments, the media, and reality itself. The AI predicts this invisible war is the biggest obstacle to peace. It creates a fog of war so dense that miscalculation becomes almost guaranteed. It's a weapon that poisons diplomacy, and it could prolong the conflict indefinitely. This, the AI warns, is the true face of 21st century warfare, where the battle for truth might matter more than the battle on the ground. So, how does the Israel-Iran war end? According to the AI's analysis, it doesn't end with a victory parade or a peace treaty. The most likely outcome is a devastating, drawn-out stalemate, marked by brutal violence and the constant threat of a wider, uncontrollable war. The human cost will be catastrophic, not just for the people of Israel and Iran, but for a global economy shaken by the chaos. But the deepest revelation is that the very tools we built to connect and inform are now being weaponized to tear us apart. The AI predicts that the war over information The flood of deepfakes and digital lies will make finding peace harder than ever before. An AI like North Star doesn't have opinions or biases. It only sees patterns and probabilities. It can't write the future, but it has offered us a powerful, data-driven warning. It has shown us the most likely roads ahead, and they all lead to a darker, more unstable world. The decisions that could prevent this future can't be made by an algorithm. They have to be made by us. What we do with that warning is still our choice. What do you think is the most likely outcome? Let us know in the comments below. Thanks for watching.